I think the whole Jesus spoke Aramaic thing is a part of the grand Antichrist deception.
Asher introduced legislation last week, making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular. You know what Israel needs today? They need Yeshua. They need Yeshua. But if you bring Jesus, you bring the wrong guy. Don't bring us Jesus. But if you bring Jesus, you bring the wrong guy. Don't bring us Jesus. The name Jesus is really Yeshua.
Jesus is God. He can speak any language, but we're looking strictly at the Bible and how this may play out as a deception. So first of all, if God and the Holy Spirit wanted the Bible written in Aramaic, it would be, but it's not. It's written in Hebrew with a few verses in Aramaic and Greek. And when I show you the verses that are in Aramaic, this is going to make a lot more sense. The sign on the cross had Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, so that everybody that was there would be able to understand what it said. There was no Aramaic. One of the books that has some Aramaic in it is the book of Ezra. The part that has Aramaic is when Israel, God's people, not a geopolitical land created by the Rothschilds, go into exile. So they're deported. A high priest named Jeshua, yes, Jeshua, takes them in, and he rebuilds the temple and reinstitutes temple ritual sacrifices. So if you're good at pattern making and you understand that the Bible works on like inversions and like things like that, this should be kind of starting to add up, right? There's two other places that contain Aramaic, parts of the book of Daniel and one verse from Jeremiah. The parts of the book of Daniel are when people had to address the Babylonian rulers because you had to speak to them in Aramaic. The Assyrians spoke Aramaic. The Assyrian is another name for the Antichrist throughout the Bible. And the verse that's in Aramaic in the book of Jeremiah, thus shall you say to them, the gods who did not make the heavens and the earth shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens. Are you guys picking up what I'm throwing? And do you guys know the Babylonian Talmud, the religious text that Judaism goes off of? Yeah, that's written in Aramaic. And I just started thinking about this again because I just watched The Passion of the Christ for the first time because you guys were like telling me about how Satan is like the harlot with the baby, kind of like I've been piecing together. So I just wanted to see what it said. And I thought, wow, this was a great movie. I mean, it was really sad to see, but it convicted me a lot and it was very accurate. But there were some things where I was like, this is definitely programming. And that was one of the things, that they were speaking Aramaic. The other thing was that they had Jesus with golden eyes. And I know that might sound odd, but I had a dream that brought me into Christianity from atheism, and he had green eyes. And this is something that I've seen like a lot of people say. Like, I feel that everybody I've seen at least all agrees that he had green eyes. And in this movie, he has like stark golden eyes. I went to the Athens Archaeological Museum a few months ago, and it was like Mycenaean themed, which is just another name for Babylonian. And it was full of like old gods and what I believe were Nephilim. This was a random bust that was in there, and a few of them had the gold eyes exactly like this. And just to give you a taste of exactly what was in here, you had sirens, which I really think that this was like a Babylonian type museum, and they just call it Mycenaean as like a different name. Lots of Mason symbols, especially in the jewelry and things like this. So Mel Gibson had him speaking Aramaic, the Babylonian language, and he had him with the golden eyes, which I saw in the Babylonian Museum seems to be a character trait for like Nephilim or the Fallen or something. I've seen it in other places, but this is the picture I have. And I've heard all this stuff about him, that he's like independent now and he's like banished from Hollywood and stuff like that. And I don't believe anything I'm told, but I just like at first I didn't really care enough to look into it until I saw the movie. And what do you know? He's a Jesuit Freemason. So of course he'd be programming us with these things.